So let's see, last question. Do you see a value difference between reader reviews, such as those on Amazon, and kind of more professional-minded writer critiquers? I mean, I'm sure we do see a difference there, but is that difference, is it a value difference? Do you value one type over the other type?
I mean, I see them both groups kind of giving different kind of critiques, and I haven't really had just readers in a while who weren't also writers and part of critique groups. But I know, like, for a while, the general readers I used to have, they would read, and it would be I like this, I don't like this so much. That was cool, blah, blah, blah. And then, it's complete reactions, and you get a pretty good idea of what they're reacting to. Whereas when I deal with critique groups who are usually other writers and, have been trying to deal with a lot of those kinds of mistakes and fixing things on their own manuscripts, they deal a lot of one thing, I think they tend to find more mistakes, and they tend to look for more mistakes, which can, I think, result in the over-critiquing.
Hmm.
But at the same time, they also, when they come up with, or when they find something wrong, they also try to come up with ways to fix it. Or they'll have ideas, at least. This is what didn't work for me, and this is why maybe it didn't work. So I think, you get more detailed feedback from writers, which again could be overmuch, whereas I do think that they pick up on more things than maybe a general reader would, which maybe they're things that you don't really need to worry about for the general readership. But,
Yeah, I agree. Like, I've always found it's very helpful to have both types of readers on the work.
mhm.
But of course, I like the reader reviews better because they're generally kinder and they don't go into nitpicky details, and they're usually just like, I liked it, give me more. Like I gave it to my roommate, or like I gave it to some coworkers or something, not like a professional person.
Yeah, I mean, that was some of the reactions I had when I started writing fan fiction in high school, basically. And it was just me and my friends being bored. I wrote something every day, and they read it because they were bored, and they enjoyed it, so I kept doing it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
I know. Like that's the stuff that keeps me going. Like those kind of reactions keep me writing. And
mhm.
then the actual like nitpicky writer reviews keep me improving.
Yeah.
I find, of course, I see value, in the professional kinds of critiques, or the more writerly critiques. I don't know if it was Nicole or Sherry. One of you had mentioned somebody, complaining, on Amazon about, a Kindle book not being formatted properly or something like that. I've not had that, but I did have a story that was released as a Kindle book or as an ebook. It was just a short story, and some of the reviews were very unkind reviews, and they were unkind because they didn't like the price. They felt that
Yeah,
it was
yeah, that's not
overpriced.
valid
Uh,
reviews at all. Those
Yeah,
aren't
yeah.
valid
but
reviews
here's
at
the
all.
thing. Yeah, and I agree. Obviously it's something I have no control over. I didn't set the
Yeah.
price. If you had asked
Mhm.
me, yeah, I thought it was overpriced too. But
And I think it's unfortunate that their ratings affect your sales. But anyway,
Yeah.
continue.
well,
Sorry.
yeah,
Go on.
that's unfortunate. Although, really, the thing that the point that I wanted to make here is that when somebody on Amazon is putting up a review, they're reviewing the whole experience.
Hmm.
Okay? They're reviewing not just the quality of the work, but the entire experience. Okay? How much value are they getting for their money? And
Mm.
if they paid, X amount of dollars for an ebook and it's not formatted properly, well, I'd be upset about that too. And so they're rating the value they're getting for their money. And somebody didn't feel like they were getting enough value for a short story that was priced at $2.99, which, quite frankly, I think was overpriced too. But I can understand that perspective, even if I don't necessarily like the fact that it's being held against me and I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, that's
So I
fine.
think that's a point that you've got to
Mm.
realize with the Amazon reviews.
Yeah, I mean that's a really solid point. The example I was using about a poorly formatted Kindle book wasn't actually from my own experience, but just from reading Amazon reviews of folks. I did have a Amazon review. I wrote a book of satirical short stories, and I did have one Amazon review that said that the price was too high for the amount. It was only, I think it was about 90 pages, and it retailed for $10. And I had somebody, and that was the publisher's price. I had no control over the pricing, but I did have someone saying, this was, there wasn't enough fiction here. I mean, you're right. They are. I mean, they may even comment on cover art. They may comment on, all kinds of things that are outside the writer's control. You're right. They're talking about the whole experience, and that's a fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one right.
Am I the established umpire now? Am I going to go ahead and be like the judge in the Olympics and put up 9.5, 8.5?
Excellent.
Yeah, I'll come up with scoring cards here in a second.
We should definitely have those. Well, okay, so thank you all for coming on the show. I'm going to end the broadcast. So,
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having us.
thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.